welcome to all participants and learners in this course titled Community Organization, Community Work and Social Work. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Quratul Anali, Assistant Professor in the Department of Social Work, Aligarh Muslim University. Before coming into this academic forum, I also was a community worker. Very practically, I have worked with the tribal communities and in many rural and urban communities. So, I have chosen this particular paper to discuss with you all. Let's have a look into the course content. I have actually divided this course into three broader parts. The very first and second week, you are going to study about the community and its dynamics and the different kind of the structure of the community, be it physical, social, or the kind of power structure of the community. You're going to understand the kind of the leadership within a community. So this is all we are going to discuss in first and second week. Because until you don't understand the playground, it's very difficult for you to play into that. So for to actually working in the community, you have to understand first what is all about the community, its nature and all kinds. So then you could have, develop the insight and develop the skill to understand all. Second part of this whole course, I have decided and divided into mainly about the primary method of social work, that is community work, community organization, community development and social action as a method of application and method of intervention into the community. The last few weeks, I'm going to engage with the skills and the different kinds of the approaches which you are going to learn so that it is helpful for you to be actually creative enough, skillful enough into, while you intervening into the community. So the last few weeks is about the tools and techniques of the community. Let's start with the, course content of this first week, because today I'm going to start with the very first lecture. So that is about the understanding of community, the very basic concept, and these are the some of the contents. Let's start with the objective of this unit that I have already discussed with you, because at the end the outcomes will enable you, all the students, to have a well-rounded understanding of communities, preparing them for practical work in the fields. Because in a present day academic scenario, everyone of be from the sociological background, definitely from the social work background, home science background, or anyone from the science background, even from the geographic background, from any particular field, even a community medicine department or community medicine aspects, mental health aspect, community mental health aspect. It's a large horizon where the students are coming from, and they have to be equipped enough, they have to understand this whole community work and community intervention. So this is all about this objective of this present unit of the first unit or maybe the second unit, right? Okay, let's start with the very first topic of the first unit, that is about the meaning, concept and characteristic and functions of community. So here in this first session, you are going to understand this all. So the meaning, actually, exploration of the meaning, the concept and characteristic and functions of a community, it serves a crucial understanding and foundation of understanding, to understand all these aspects into the society. A community is as not just merely a collection of people, okay? So it is represent a more than that, the value, the characteristic, the assumptions, the kind of the mutual interest within a community, the kind of power structure within a community. So understanding these are very, very important, because by understanding this actually equips us and all of you with the tools needed to work effectively and responsively to the evolving needs and aspiration of various communities. Okay, and finally for the development of the nation. Next is, very first is about what is actually and the literal meaning of the community. So community as refers to a group of people or who are living together, whether it is in a rural area, urban area, tribal area, or in the slum areas, or as a whole nation. Whenever a member of any group, a smaller or size and larger in size, whether it is in tribal or the urban area, actually they live in a coexistence manner and in a very meaningful way, means who is holding where, whose position is where, who is living where. So it's a very meaningful way. So hierarchies is there, and then role division has been there. So we classify them, that group who is living in particular area and sharing the certain kinds of the common aspects and common goals, are called as community. And then all of our social relationship actually built in this community, because all the institution is the part and parcel of every community, be it its religion, or your society, or your family, or it is economy, or any kind of the political and state aspects, or governing authorities. So this is all the part and parcel of every community, whether it is in smaller number or degree, or it could be in a larger degree. So we actually get all this and socialize into this through our community. So that way, community is like a space that provides us this all aspects to be, learned or to be internalized by everyone of humans belong to that particular community. So depending on the kind of the nature and then characteristic of that community, that reflects, that comes and into the individual's personality. However, in contemporary society, there is often significant interdependence among different communities has been identified. As a result, a community may not be completely self-sufficient. Community exists within larger communities, because you see that communities can be characterized as a one section, or one section of mohalla within the larger city. So that mohalla cannot be self-sustained, and that community is not self-sustained, so it has to be dependent on other community for some other purposes, right? So like if any community which is upmarket, or living in very posh areas, so they need some kind of the servants and helpers for their everyday's work. So those helpers are coming from the slum areas mainly sometimes, or so this is, I mean, they depended on that community, and even they need some kind of the technology, and also for that they are needed for some other community. For market purposes, they are dependent on some others. So that way, interdependence is so important here within community and with other community. So in totality, this unit we are going to discuss about the structure aspect of the community, and later on in these two weeks of this particular aspect of the community, you are going to understand the physical structure of the community. There are social aspects and social structure of the community, and there are also the power structure of the community. So keep in mind throughout these 2 weeks, these are three aspects. One is the physical structure, second is about the social structure, and third is about the power structure. And the interplay of these three is actually resulted into the development and then progress and then equilibrium of any community. Moving ahead, the meaning of the community. So whenever we heard about the community, so images of your mohalla, your playgrounds of your mohalla, or your the neighbors, that all comes in your mind. For us, this is what the community. That's true, totally true. But in a present day world, there's some more kind of the emerging communities are there, like the virtual communities and all. And you see the youngsters particularly are somewhere involved in their own virtual communities. They have their own groups that they are involved in, rather than having interaction physically around them. So that is one aspect that is we are going to discuss in detail in the later sessions. So the literal meaning of the community is what? That is derived from Latin word munis plus cum. So this two combining together give the meaning to give unto each other. To give unto each other means that is what? Again, it's about the sharing, right? So it means that community is an organization of human beings framed from the purpose of serving together. So this togetherness is here, as per this definition, is very important. As Aristotle has very rightly said, that a community as a group established by men having shared values, and he was the first who used this word community. Okay, moving ahead. So if you look into the definition, so the French sociologist Emile Durkheim saw communities as a group of individuals linked by social bonds that give us to collective consciousness. That's why I have highlighted this collective consciousness, because being in the member of any community, you are very conscious about that you are the part of this community, and you develop the kind of we feeling because of this, right? And next is about the Kingsley Davis focus on the common life aspect of the community. He argued that a community develops from living together, sharing experiences and having mutual interest, which is turn create a unique culture within the group. Because of these all sharing experiences, having mental interest, mutual interest, living together, give a kind of, again, a kind of we feeling and identity. That is what the community identity, every one's of your identity together form the community identity, and whatever the community identity, that gives your identity, right? So this common life aspect of community, arguing that community arises from the individuals living together, sharing experiences and having mutual interest. This shared experiences foster interaction that contribute to the development of a unique culture within that group, characterized by the common values, practices, and social norms that bind members together. Looking into the Boris Ginsburg defined the binding force of a community lies in the network of social relationship. So this social networking here, as per this definition, is so important, because this network actually gives the binding force of community. Anything which is not bind cannot survive. So binding is so important. And which what gives the binding of the community? So that is what the network of social relationship, right? So it could be formal, it could be informal. Mainly in the smaller communities or the traditional community, the informal networking is there. And the more formal communities like the urban areas and metropolitan cities, there are more, you could say, the formal kind of the social relationship exist. He posited that these relationships are characterized with sense of moral responsibility and mutual aid, leading to a community a distinctive character. Because of these moral responsibility and mutual aid, lending to a community into a distinctive characteristic, because once you understand that this is your community, this is your moral responsibility to work into this, you have to be moral responsibility to adhere to the value system, and then to transfer from one to another. So that way a distinctive characteristic has been emerged of every community. Moving ahead to looking into the Talcott Parsons definitions, who talked about the collectivity aspect of the community, where this collectivity is where it happened, where it is in the common territorial area, their base of operation for daily basis. So this collectivity emerges because living into some common territorial area. So this definition is somehow is a older idea of community, right? This which talks about the territory, which talks about the boundary. But again, we cannot eradicate this idea of territory and then boundary, because it's the since the human is going to living on this earth, there's always the kind of territorial aspect of community will exist. So according to Anthony P. Cohen, experience of social life outside the confine of home community. So what your home is the center of your life, which is in present in the community. Okay, that's totally okay. But you actually get your secondary socialization, your primary socialization, you get it from your family. Very true, right? Then the secondary set of socialization, the next aspect of your learning, you get from your community. So that's why this Cohen has explained about the experience of social life, that is you get it from your community, right? And then coming to the next, according to the Social Work Dictionary, community is a group of individuals or families that share certain values, services, institutions, interests, or geographical proximity. Again, it's talking about the shared values and services. Moving ahead after the definitions, so if you look into all these definitions, collectively underscore the social, cultural, geographical aspect and factors that contribute to the formation of and functions of any community. So structure and function, all these definitions, looking into all this, if analyzing all these definitions, you come into conclusion that all the definitions actually talk about the two very important aspect of the community. One is the structure, and another is a functional aspect, right? So functional aspect could be interplay of the social structure, physical structure, as well as the power structure of the community, right? And physical structure, and that's what one other aspect is about the structure of the community. That's about the rules, norms, values, demographical composition. That's all aspect is about the structure of the community. And territory and location are also been there as also considered as a first aspect of the community, that is the structure of the community. So next is about the elements that contribute to the sense of community. So as Macmillan has actually very beautiful, and Cavis has very beautifully defined the four very important elements that gives you the kind of sense of community. The sense of community is so important to be attached with the community, to control you, to deviate from the community, to deviate or deviations towards some kind of the negative behavior. So once you have that kind of the sense of community, I belong to this community, I have to be good to be represent this community. So that kind of the sense of community is very important, and that will also give you the kind of the strength that I belong to this community, right? So membership is very first element that gives this sense of community, because this it involves a sense of being part of group and recognize oneself as a member, who is in and who is out. So being part of that member of that community, you always feel good and you feel connected. Next is influence. This influence is what? Is influence refers to a degree to which members feel that they affect the community and its dynamics. It reflects the reciprocal relationship between individuals and then community, that you influence, you influencing the community as well as community influencing you. So you have to go according to the community, and there are a lot of influencer within a community which actually became the instrumental for your learning. Next is about integration and fulfillment of needs. So how the community meets the needs of its member, that's very important. If it is, whether it is a smaller amount of the needs or the larger aspects of the needs, so depending whether it is education aspect or food aspect, whatever. So this element highlights how the community meets the needs of its member, whether those are emotional, social or practical, right? So integration occurs when members receive support, resources and opportunities that fulfill their needs and enhance their well-being. That's why if any community is failed to fulfill certain kinds of the needs, that's why the migrations happened, right? So there are other impacts of these if any community is not fulfilling the needs of their community. So even though every community tried to integrate and try to fulfill their needs, every community trying to bring the things into equilibrium. So shared emotional connection is the fourth very important elements for what? For sense of community, that is shared emotional involvement or connection. So emotional bonds that develop among members through shared experiences, history and values are so important, because emotional bonds that develop is actually element underscore the emotional bonds that develop among members through shared experiences, your history and values of that community. So this shared emotions connection is developed out of your common history, common values, and then common way of living within a community, and then experiences. Again, these all four, it is whether it is membership, influence, integration and fulfillment of needs, and shared emotional connection, actually gives you the we feeling and then attachment and attraction towards your community. Okay, now coming to the features and characteristic of any community. Listen, the very first is about the group of people. So people or humans are the very first prerequisite of any community. Definitely no people, no community. Particularly I'm talking about the human community. So a group of people is the most basic and essential characteristic of any community. Second is about the definite locality. Once you talk about the physical community, either it is rural, urban, tribal or slum, so definitely they have some definite community. So in this context, specific locality is essential. It's the concept of community, as it is fundamental territorial group. See, a group of people like nomadic people may change their inhabitants, but if whenever and wherever they go and settle down, they have their own definite locality for maybe for 6 months or a year. Otherwise, in general, in totality, every community is having certain definite locality. You have your own mohalla, which is lying in certain locality and all. So next is community sentiment, that we have already discussed here as the sense of community. It's same here, is about the community sentiment. Your community sentiment has been developed out of your common culture, common value system, common experiences that you have actually get from your community while you are getting socialized into that community. Permanence. Usually community are in the nature of permanency. A country means it's having a lasting nature. It is not going to for 1 month or 2 months or year or 2 year. Definitely you may come, it may come in your mind that's what's about the nomadic people and Banjara community. So definitely, but it's not like that every day are moving. For a month, for 2 months, for a particular season, they are settling down certain areas, right? So that is somehow exceptional aspect. But once you come about the basic concept of the community, which is characterized by lasting nature, it signifies a stable group of individuals who reside together within a specific territory over time, unlike a crowd or a temporary association. So this crowd and association on the basis of this permanence cannot be considered as a community. Similarity. Members of community often share various characteristics, and that resulted into kind of the similarity into their overall understanding, overall liking and dislikings, even the kind of the foods, because living into what particular community, socialize into particular community, you do like that kind of cuisine or the kind of the clothing and all. You see that in our beautiful nation, the basic aspect of our nation is the unity in diversity. So the diverse community of us, you can look into that. Community actually loves their own way of living, the culture, the kind of dressing, and the kind of cuisines and food. So this is what the similarity belonging to the similar community. Wider ends. So community serves broader purpose beyond a single goal. It's not like one community is only concerned for the education or giving the foods to their community. So they have wider ends. Members come together not just to achieve one specific aim, rather variety of shared interests. Total organized social life here means a community is characterized by fully integrated social structure. This means that community encompasses all dimensions of social life, from family interaction to economic activities. So everything is encompasses here in the community while defining the community. Okay, next is about particular name. So it's simple to understand that every community have certain names. You can just imagine any community, definitely you can, that community you identify with certain names, whether it is mohalla, it has some name. Within mohalla there are some smaller community that is having name, maybe the Bihari colonies by, or the refugee colony. So, or particular, every community is having certain name, right? Like Purani Delhi and all. So every community, either it is slum areas or mohalla or city within a city. So everywhere it has always been identified with some names. Even a city is always having a name. Okay, functions of a community. So there are many functions, but if you look into the functions given by the Robert L. Warren, actually he has given this functions of the community on the basis of, on the taking the community as a social system, where system lies in some supra system. Okay, this is what every community lies in, some supra system. Supra system means your environment or law or market where the community lies. Maybe this it could be a city, the law of that city that's considered to be the supra system, the environment of that city, that could be a supra system, and system could be here. You can take the example of any mohalla or locality as a one community, right? So it is going to be affected by whatever happened in this supra system, and then this system is again affected by whatever happened in their subsystem. Okay, so this is what a basic idea, explanation of any system theory. On the basis of that, there are many conceptualization could be happen. Later on we will discuss on. Here a basic understanding I just have given you regarding the system theory, right? So supra system, subsystem, and then whole system. So subsystem, if any subsystem is going to happen any kind of the issues, it affects to another, it affects to further, and it further affected to the whole community. So anyways, the change in the supra system or change in the subsystem is actually comes and reflected into the problems and issues and then survival and success of any community. So these are the 5 subsystems talks about the Robert L. Warren. First is the production, distribution, and consumption. Second is socialization, social control, social participation, mutual support. These subsystems are interrelated to each other. So very first subsystem is about the production, distribution, and consumption function of the community. So every community, if you imagine, those communities are involving in some kind of the economic function. So broadly, if I say this particular, that's why I just have to under bracket I just written as economic function, otherwise nowhere it's specifically defined as economic function. But if you look into the explanation of this, you can easily understand this is about the economic function. So production, this is the procedure involved in manufacturing and services to suit the wants and the needs and desires of the community members. If you visualize the rural community, so they have their own kind of production system. This involves everything from industry to agriculture to providing services to their community. Next is about the distribution. Distribution, that refers to the method used to supply goods and services to consumers. This includes logistics, transportation, and retail. Again, depending upon the nature of the community and the system that supports it, whether the supra system or the market is not available nearby, so the distribution system will become difficult for that community. That's why there are always some kind of the demands from the rural community or the farmers regarding the markets price and all, because just to make a balance between this production, distribution, and consumption. And every community has to consume something. So this is a process by which individuals are going to utilize their products and services to meet their needs and desires. Depending upon this consumption is based on the production produces in the same community, or it is coming from some other community. Maybe in the urban areas you are actually consuming the products many a time which is coming from any other country. So as if you look into the Gandhian approach, which is talking about that you have to, suggestion that you have to consume the products, you have to use the product which has been produced nearby. And it is what, my dear friends, it is the uttermost important demands of today's world, because here we all know about the concerned about the ecology and how this climate change has been happened. So every one of us actually instrumental into this, and we are responsible for this. Because one thing is here, just to mention, just come in mind, I just mentioned here, that is about the carbon footprinting. The maximum you use the branded product which is coming from some other country, producing in another one, maybe in a t-shirts which is producing in Bangladesh taking the raw material from other city or maybe from other countries, and then it goes to some other country, maybe in America, England, where the stamp has been attached to that product, and coming back to the Indian markets or any other markets, and then you buy that, even going into some other market, and then you import that product, finished product to your own country. So it travels a lot. In traveling this all, you just imagine how much you are contributing to this environment negatively. That is what a simple explanation. Otherwise, there's a lot of explanation of this carbon footprinting, and you can counter it with the new idea is very days. Western communities has been adopted it, not at a very macro level, but at least at the micro level. You can also think and start from this. That is about the minimalism, that we have to try to minimize our needs and desires. That's what a suggestion, not about this topic. Okay, just moving ahead about this function. So next is about the socialization as a function of community. Definitely in a community, family is the part of any community, mohalla is the part of any community, peer groups, your initial friends is your part of your community, even schooling, the basic schooling is a part of your community. So that is what it helpful in transmission of culture through socialization. That's very important function of any community. So the kind and then behavior of you are so much reflecting the kind of the community you belong to. So that's what usually it has been happened. Oh, that person is belong to that community, that's why he's doing that, he is from that community, because we can perceive some kind of preconceived notion and stereotyping we develop. So we are actually looking up for some community members or members coming from some community, or we are looking down and not taking not seriously some people coming from particular community, because we have developed that preconceived notion. Again, that is somehow is about the kind of this all maybe it's because of the present day media what they have developed the kind of, and because of the lot of interconnectedness and getting information about some community and develop some kind of preconceived notion regarding other community. That is not totally different thing, but here transmission of culture is a very important phenomena that is happening within a community, and it's important function. Then identity formation, being socialized into the community, you represent your community, you are from that region, you are coming from that mohalla, so that is what your identity formation happened because of your socialization. That is the part and as an important function of community. Influences of institutions, in whichever institution you belong to. Institution here means maybe your family, your mohalla, your peer group, your education, your governing system. So influences of those institutions into your personality. If the community member is coming from a tribal community, even the political institution of that community, that reflects into their personality. It's a lifelong process, definitely. Socialization throughout your life, you are actually socialized. Maybe you're going from one community to another community, you try to desocialize and re-socialize, and there are different aspects of the socialization happen, developmental socialization. So socialization anyways, throughout your life it happens. Then community cohesion. So again, being part of any community is an important aspect of socialization, that it gives you the community cohesion. Social control as a function of community. Definitely through your community or through your socialization into the community, you are like in the earlier point was the institution or socialization. So every institution of you actually tells you what to do and what not to do, starting from your family to religion to your mohalla to your peer group to your education system to your state, whether it is formally or informally. So if your family, if you take the example of your family, informally that controls you. So you should not do this and you should not do that. So that is what the formal control, informal control. And religion also controls you, so much controls you, because again it's more informal control, maybe written formally somewhere, but it controls you informally, that you should not do this, you have to do this, you have to be like a good human like this. So there are certain kind of the value system attached to every institutions, and that controls you throughout your life. And see, this is very important function of any community. You see, I have actually worked with the migrant communities, so I have seen that among the migration, they lack social control because they are coming from another community and they are living into some host community where they just in after 2-3 years, so they don't connected with that community, and they actually living with, in the absence of that social control, many a time indulge into some wrong activities. I have worked with the HIV/AIDS patient among and related to the migrants and the truckers. So I have seen that this kind of the lack of social control was one of the important phenomena which is lacking in those members, because they are away from their community and they lack this social control. Understand? So this mechanism of control, social control, is very important. It's helpful in the sustaining order. Definitely social control works to keep the peace and stability in the community by encouraging, approving that what to do and what not to do. Community involvement, social control also asks every one of you that you have to participate into that. Even taking the example of religion, so religion suggested you that you have to behave like this and you have to go and interact with your community members in your Holi, Diwali, Eid. So in these festivals, as the part and parcel of the religion as an institution that controls you, that controls your behavior, that promotes the involvement within the members. So this is one example I'm here. Like even in the marriages and number of the activities happen in the community, you are actually tried to involve into that, and community give you that space for your involvement. And then community cohesion. Community cohesion is definitely is being promoted through this control, because stability and cohesion with the within a community are facilitated effective socialization. So community cohesion is a vice versa relationship. If there is a cohesion, you are more into control. If you are controlled by someone's, so kind of cohesion will develop, because being to identify within a group, you try to behave according to the expected roles and then expected behavior of the community. Okay, moving ahead. Next is about the social participation. So social participation is also important function of the community, because it explains how actively involved individuals in the community are in variety of events and activities that support the social, cultural and economic well-being of the community. So social participation, again, this particular function we as a social worker and community worker are going to use at a maximum level, because participation, being the part of any community, every member tries to participate in their own way. Someone as in powerful manner, someone as a passive manner, someone as in a reactive manner, maybe sometimes someone may participate as an active way. So empowerment voice. So until the empowerment and voice has not been being given or being listened to, the who's is not being excluded of the community, so you cannot consider the participation of that community. So these, then next is the developing relationship within after, definitely once you being participated, you develop a kind of relationship within that. And civic responsibility, the maximum you participate in the civic responsibility, the maximum you can learn, you can be accepted by the community. It is a very fundamental truth of any community, of everyone's life. So if your next one is about mutual support. Mutual support is also coming through the crisis response and bonds and strengthen. Mutual support is again very important function of the community. You see that at the time of crisis, who comes first? Definitely anyone from your community at the crisis time, right? So any kind of the formal supports or from the state comes later. The very first who comes to support you, that is what the community, because of this mutual support and this kind of the feeling that I have to work for my own community. Bonds and strengths. So you, if I take about example of the Corona period, that in the during the Corona period, in everywhere of the world, the maximum kind of the support system has been actually emerged and developed from the community itself. Where I'm not just saying that it's only about the physical support system and kind of thing. Rather, there are a lot support has been happened through the virtual modes. Counseling has been through the virtual modes and all, and that is what the we feeling has been developed, and the whole globe was actually that time taking as a one strong macro community where everyone belonged to each other, because they all over the world, majority of the world except few and a few countries and few areas. So majority of the world, or majority of the countries, they've actually had the same problem, and they have a same objective to eradicate that problem. And so because of these kind of characteristic, they have developed, and the whole world has developed into, and actually the very practically became a one one community as in large perspective. Okay, so bonds and strength in crisis response are very important function, because until there is a no mutual support, no one is coming to support, and particularly in the crisis periods, and this bonds and strength is totally very important. Later sessions we are going to discuss about the bonds and strength regarding the social capital. So keep in mind for the future sessions that we are going to discuss on this social capital, very important phenomena which has been there in the community, developed because of the bonds. It could be of many nature, bonds and bonding and bridging types. So later on we will discuss on this. So this is all about the functions. Now I'm confident enough that you actually understand the basic idea of the community, and that throughout this coming sessions we are discussing so much in length and breadth different types of community and different elements and characteristics of the community. So overall, I just close my session with this idea, with the statement that community is about growing together and growing with others. So it's about others, me and others. So this is what the community essence. So, and that Sufi tradition, the journey of life is viewed as a path towards awakening to our true essence. This essence represents our deepest self, a connection to the divine and the fundamental nature of existence. The process of awakening involves recognizing and embracing the inner truth with love and acceptance. This is love and acceptance comes from community. Here community plays important role in giving love and acceptance. So overall, this kind of tranquility and even the kind of awakening is also, if you look into the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this upper level you can get from this kind of, from your community. If your community is supportive, then you can, go up and fulfill your that kind of eternal need requirements of every human being. This is somehow very philosophical I'm talking about, but this is what the community is helping you out in every aspect of your life and supporting you in every aspect of your life. Thank you so much for listening carefully this topic. So these are the some references of this topic, community. Thank you so much.